So today I just want us to talk about the biggest difference between nature and the human brain and the capabilities of these two forces on the world or on the planet. So number one, let's begin with the nature or this force of nature. So this force of nature is a force that includes all things that live. This is a force that enables and facilitates all living forms. So this force of nature is the life-giving force that facilitates all living forms on the planet. So this facilitates all living forms with brains or without. It facilitates human beings who have a sophisticated brain, and also facilitates animals which rarely think or are rarely invested in thought. So nature facilitates all these living forms in their diversities, or despite of their diversities. Nature facilitates the growth of plants, of trees, of grass, of living forms, of all things that inhabit this planet. So this force of nature is a kind of a greater force than the human brain, because all human brains belong to one force of nature. So the human brain is facilitated from a zygote, or from a sperm to a zygote to a embryo, to birth and to growing up into a state where it can learn and hold knowledge. So before the human brain is able to think or to carry out its thinking ability, it's under the facilitation of the natural force or of nature. So under the facilitation of nature, it's under the force of that which facilitates the brains of all other living forms or of all other thinking forms. So nature is a facilitator of all living forms, including their organs, among which are the human brains. So the human brain, though it's powerful, though it makes buildings, though it makes all these skyscrapers, though it makes ships, though it makes aeroplanes and rockets and nuclear bombs, though it does all these technological advancements, including making sophisticated tools like artificial intelligence, it's under the facilitation of the natural force. So this natural force facilitates the human brain to grow, facilitates the human brain from its infancy to a state where it can hold knowledge, or where it can be identified with scholarliness, or in the intellect or knowledge. So this next force, which is the human brain, is a byproduct of nature. It's an organ of a human being who's a byproduct of nature. So these two forces do the greatest changes, or impact the greatest changes on this planet. So the first force, which is nature, is the facilitator and enabler of this second force, which is the human brain. So what is this human brain? So the human brain is the organ held between the two ears of a human being. So the human brain is this tool that humans use to think. So this tool that is equipped through knowledge, through schooling, through propaganda, through all these religions and cultures and traditions and norms, it is schooled and made to act in a certain way. So the human brain controls all human actions. So every human beings, or most human beings, act from knowledge, act from that which is stored in their brains. So the human brain is the greatest facilitator of all human actions. All the changes we've done on this planet, they are 100% or 99.99% facilitated by the brain. So all this engineering we do, all these mathematics we do, all these things we create, all this artificial intelligence we've made, all these devices, all these weapons, all these things that comfort us in this world, we've made them by the enabling of our brains. So the human brain can do tremendous changes on this planet. The human brain has made structures, the human brain has made buildings, has made vehicles, has made all these technological and industrial advancements that we've done in our environment. So this should show us of how able, or how powerful this human brain, or this tool that we utilize to do all these changes is. So this should show us the power, the might, the tremendous ability that we have through our brains. So the human brain, though it's this much powerful, there is a greater power, which is nature, which you've said is the first force. So this first force, which is nature, facilitates this tool that will hold knowledge even before it can hold knowledge. So the human brain in the womb is not ready to learn physics, or to hold knowledge about a certain subject, or is not ready to hold culture or religion, but through the facilitation of nature, through the facilitation of the same force that facilitates the maturing of the lion or the gazelle or the elephant or the whale or the rat's brain, that which facilitates the brains of all these living forms facilitates the brain of a human being to a state where it is ready to hold knowledge, to a state where it is ready to do changes on the planet. So when it's ready, then human beings interfere and teach it some sort of stuff. These might be philosophies, these might be religions, these might be cultures. All these are a hijacking of that which nature made from scratch. So nature makes a human brain from a microscopic organism to a state where it is kgs, to a state where it is ready to be taught, to hold knowledge, to accumulate scholarly knowledge. And from that knowledge, then it can do all these engineerings, all these changes that it does on this planet. So all these changes are a byproduct of the things that the human brain learns from human norms, from human cultures, from human tendencies, from human ways of doing things, from human philosophies. So when the human brain is facilitated by nature to a state where it is born, it is given by human beings some time before it is indoctrinated into schooling system, into religious system, into traditions, into cultural norms, into languages, into nationalities, into ideologies. So all these things are imparted after the human brain is born. But from its making, from scratch to birth, it's under the facilitation of nature. It's under the facilitation of that which facilitates the growth of trees. It's under the facilitation of that which facilitates digestion, breathing, all these processes that happen in a human being and in other living forms. So things like growth are facilitated by nature, and the same nature facilitates the growth of this human organ or of the human being, which is the brain. So as a human being, under the facilitation of nature is growing, the brain also is growing and maturing to a state where it can hold knowledge, to a state where it can be programmed, it can be conditioned or manipulated through societal forces, through religious forces, through the noises of propaganda and news and all these things that bombard our senses. So the human brain, after it has been born, after it has been under the facilitation of nature, falls on human hands, falls under the human hands, which shape it as per their will or as per their image. So if a human being is born in Kenya, then he or she will be brought up by the Kenyan norms. He or she will be taken to the Kenyan schooling system. He or she will be brought up under the Kenyan religions or the controlling religions. So where the human being is born, then there the destiny of the brain is decided.